Great. Please raise your hand if you've ever stopped at a gas station but were turned away because they were out of gas. I thought so. That is because we're living in a thriving oil market that the U.S. has made great strides to stabilize. We've made great relations with overseas producers. We've increased production here at home to the point where we no longer have to worry about energy and especially in the petroleum industry. The simple task of filling up your car with gas, taking a plane to like another state or town, or buying plastics is not a concern for us right now. However, this has not always been the case. I'm a bit of a history geek. I've studied lots of U.S. history, a lot of energy industry history. So I've known a little bit about how oil shaped the United States and the world in general. Petroleum was first drilled in Pennsylvania about 150 years ago, and ever since then, oil has been on the market like crazy. The first main product was kerosene, and it was used to replace whale oil in our lamps, and actually ended up saving the whale population, which now we believe is a huge deal. We have invested billions in dollars into maintaining relationships with oil-producing countries and technology to achieve our own energy independence. And it is shown how. Sorry. Oil has been one of the most influential resources in modern history and will continue to shape politics and economies for decades to come because of this, because of how powerful energy source it is. The first gasoline and diesel, the first gasoline and diesel was refined from oil to power lights, cars, ships, and eventually war machines. Throughout World War II, Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan specifically targeted nations that produced large amounts of oil in order to fuel their growing war machines. Later, in the mid-20th century, the U.S. also tried to do this as well. We sought to install pro-West governments in various Middle Eastern nations. But in response, we were greatly shocked by oil crises in 1973 and 1979, one by OPEC, which is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, because we were intervening with their war against Israel, and the other one was due to the Iranian Civil War, which caused only a slight 4% decrease in the overall oil production, but caused a massive panic across the board in terms of oil prices in general. And both these events greatly shocked the U.S. and greatly damaged the economy for a short period of time, and greatly increased our awareness of just how vulnerable we were if we were not energy independent. This eventually caused us to change our foreign policy in a way such as invading Iraq, defending Kuwait, in order to maintain our oil ties away from home. It's also quite surprising to see, though not really, how the U.S. is able to tolerate the monarchy in Saudi Arabia, but not able to tolerate the democratic socialist dictatorship in Cuba because one has oil and the other does not. The recent U.S. gains in energy independence, especially in the oil industry, has greatly increased her capability in foreign policy in many ways. Thanks to the newly discovered shale drilling, we have been able to become an exporter of energy instead of a constant importer of one. This has allowed the new U.S. government to implement a stronger foreign policy because we're no longer worried about a possible oil embargo or a possible price decrease or increase. This gives a huge bargaining chip for the U.S. at any negotiation we have with other countries. Like the average American, the U.S. government does not want to go on a long road trip only to not be able to fill up at a gas station halfway there. This has caused nations around the world, this has caused the U.S. to correlate oil with nations around the world and to increase and spend billions of dollars in maintaining its internal production. The U.S. has worked very hard to achieve this, and for the short term it has. The importance of controlling energy cannot be understated, as plentiful energy powers modern economies and our first world way of life. I urge everyone to keep a very close eye on energy politics, because any change in that has a potential to change everything we hold dear.